So today I wanted to make this video to share my testimony. So my testimony is this little cutie right here. I was just pregnant about 3 months ago. She was born in August, and as we all know, when you're pregnant, you do your 20-week sonogram, and you're so excited to find out what you're having. My sonogram, we have found out I was having a girl, which she's a blessing now. In a perfect world, of course, everybody says, I want a boy, a girl, a dog, and a white picket fence. However, we were a little shocked. Now we have 2 little divas because I have a 1-year-old. But, we were still excited. We were thinking, oh, healthy baby. However, in the sonogram, the sonographer was a bit concerned. She said she thought she saw something, but she wasn't sure, and she didn't want to alarm us, but she wanted to send us to a specialist. So we didn't think much of it. Generally, my husband would go to sonogram appointments with us, but with me, but he didn't because we didn't think much of it. We just thought, okay, we're ruling out everything. So the specialist was actually a high-risk doctor, and I went to the specialist on my own, and they're looking through it, and they had zoomed in on the sonogram, and they told me, oh, okay, we see something right there. It's called CPAM. So I'm saying, CPAM? I've never even heard of that. And they said, oh, it's very rare, but we don't know if you'll be fine or good, if the baby be fine. We don't know because we don't have many studies behind it to be able to say everything's going to be 100% good. But we're just going to watch it closely. And then they left the room and they came back, and a nurse came in, another doctor came in, social worker came in. Everybody wanted to make sure I was okay, and they were telling me, worst case scenario and best case scenario. So just to educate everybody, because for those people out there that don't know what CPAM is, and you may be dealing with it or someone you know, just to educate you, CPAM is Cystic Pulmonary Airway Malformation, also known as Congenital Pulmonary Airway Malformation. So basically, it was my baby. She had cysts on her right lungs, like a cluster of cysts. And so you really never know how this is going to turn out. Worst case scenario, they said if the cysts grew, then they could start pushing vital organs out of the way, or it could stop the development of the lungs, which is really important for them to fully develop before the baby's born. Or they could expand and push against her esophagus, and she wouldn't be able to breathe, and then we'd have to do an emergency labor and hurry up and get her out so she'd have a better chance of surviving on the outside. So they're telling me all of this, just preparing me. They're telling me that NICU will probably be in the room when my baby's born. We might have to spend a few weeks in NICU. We never know. It's just something that they're going to watch for now. And if it grows tremendously, they're going to give me steroids halfway through pregnancy. Well, halfway through. At this point, it was 22 weeks to 40. So I'm thinking first of all, I'm terrified about my baby. I don't want anything to be wrong with my baby. My first pregnancy, it was I was sick, but she was a healthy baby. But this time around, I'm thinking okay, well, whatever we have to do, even if I have to get steroids, we'll just have to do it. Although in my mind, I was going to get steroids and I was going to be 300 pounds. So I was nervous. But nevertheless, I was just okay, I'm taking in all of this information. Mind you, my husband, he didn't come to that one because he had to work, and we didn't think they were really going to tell me anything serious. So at that point, I'm not the type of person to cry in front of people, so I am just trying to hold all of this information in. Although my eyes are watering, but in my mind, I do not want these doctors to see me cry. I do not want them to know that I'm affected. There's a social worker in the room, I guess, just in case I have a nervous breakdown or something, but they're dealing with the wrong person. I wasn't going to do that. So I'm just trying to take in all this information, and they said we had to schedule an appointment to go take a tour of the NICU, and from this point on, I would have to come in to get a sonogram every week until the end of my pregnancy. So I'm thinking, like, are you kidding me? For one, this is like emotionally stressful looking at this every week, and for two, that's going to be a lot of money for doctor's appointments. Luckily, I have high deductible insurance, so we reached our deductible pretty quick, and then everything was covered. But nevertheless, I left out of the doctor's office. I'm thinking in my head, like, God, why me? Why my baby? Did I do something? Is it because I really wasn't ready for another baby right now? I don't know. So and in a sense, I was starting to kind of try to like blame myself. Like, maybe I ate something wrong or I drank something wrong. I didn't even know that I was pregnant until I was about 10, 12 weeks pregnant. So I'm thinking all these like what if signs. Well, they said there's no cause behind this. It just happens to some babies. And they don't really know, but they're just going to hope for the best, and we'll just see from there. So I get in the car, call my husband. I'm like crying. I can barely get it out. I'm trying to remember everything they told me, all these websites they told me to go to. There's not much information about it online, which was also very scary. And then my husband, I think he's trying to keep cool. I was actually on my lunch break at the doctor's office, so I went back to work, and honestly, I couldn't even make it through that work day. I couldn't even explain to my manager why I couldn't be there. I was just crying hysterically, and I didn't want anybody to see me. But at that point, I started to get a little nervous, but I have to remember that God is not going to put more on you than you can bear. So I accepted it. It is what it is. We're going to have faith and move forward. And we don't really know what's going to happen with this situation, but I know everything's going to be fine, because at the end of the day, this baby is a blessing from God, and I can handle this. And so I acted normal, just smiled after that day of crying, smiled. I tried not to let too many things stress me out, very hard at times, but my husband was very supportive. We did a lot of research on it, and there's good stories out there, there's bad stories. One of the nurses, her baby was born with it, and her baby survived. Her baby had to have surgery after her baby was born, but I was just trying to get as much information as I could on it so that I could be more okay with the situation. So throughout the weeks of going to our weekly sonograms, the baby's cysts, they kept increasing in size. So I was getting a tad bit nervous. I was asking a lot of questions. You would have thought that I was a doctor. But I was just watching, and then me and my husband would pray and pray and pray, because if they're saying they don't know what to do about this, well, I know what I can do about it. We could pray about it, because if anybody can heal it, God can heal it. So me and my husband, we would pray about it before our appointments, and I would randomly pray if I'm just sitting there thinking about it. And prayer really does change things. After about 3 or 4 weeks of the cysts growing, they told me that the cysts were starting to shrink. So I was very excited. In my mind, it's like, these cysts are going to be gone. She's going to be healed. I'm so excited. By the end of the pregnancy, they had gotten really, really small, to the point where you were barely able to see them. So at that point, my little angel was born. Here she goes. Say hi. Say hi to mommy's baby. So she was born, and thank God the NICU was in the room, but they checked her out. Everything was fine. We've had to get several x-rays on her since she's been born. She's probably had about 6 x-rays just to make sure, because of course it's easier to view when she's actually on the outside rather than looking at a sonogram. But don't cry, baby. But as of right now, everything is going great. So for anybody out there dealing with CPAM, or know somebody dealing with it, or a sickness of any kind with your baby, just have faith, remain positive. Just know that everything's going to be okay, because you can speak everything into existence. So I'm so grateful, and we are still going back just to make sure that everything is fine when she's about 6 months. So I'll give you guys an update. But as of now, she's happy and healthy, and I love her. Thank you. Have a good one.